Okay, back to the dinim of tefillin. Okay, the tefillin you have to put on your hand and between your eyes. That's what the pasuk says. So l'chayra, if you take the pasuk literally, like the tzedukim did, they would put the head tefillin on here between your eyes, and they would put the hand tefillin on the palm. That's your hand. This is the arm. So it says, "Kshartam leisa yadecha." You should time for a sign on your hand. So they would literally. That's where it goes. But the Chachamim in Torah Shabbal Peh from Moshe Rabbeinu were taught no, because it says "V'samtem es devara ela al levavchem." You should put these words on your heart. So the Gemara learns that where do you put the hand tefillin? On the hand, on the upper arm of the arm, and the muscle, basically, facing the heart. Even if you're putting it on the right hand, it's still, the heart's in the middle, a little bit to the left. So basically, you're still facing the heart. So the tefillin cannot go outwards, because then it's not facing the heart. It has to go inside, facing the heart. The head tefillin the Chachamim learned doesn't mean beinei nechem literally. It means on the place where the mind of a baby is, whatever the expression is in English, which means like this. But it does say beinei nechem, but it says between your eyes. So how do you get between your eyes? So the halacha is they have to be on your head, right? But they have to be between your eyes. You can't wear the tefillin here or the head tefillin here on the side. They have to be in middle. That's why it's very important. Either you look in a mirror, you have a mirror, or, you feel it, that tefillin should be beinei nechem, that the middle of the tefillin would be equal to where your eyes are. So therefore, that's where you put on the hand tefillin, that's where you put on the head tefillin. Okay, now, when a person takes out the tefillin, you're supposed to take out the hand tefillin first. Why do you take out the hand tefillin first? Because there's a rule in halacha, you don't want to be what's called mavir ala mitzvahs. You don't want to pass over a mitzvah. So what tefillin do you put on first? The hand tefillin. If you're going to take out the head tefillin first, you can't put on the head tefillin first. And we'll see why. So therefore you'd have to put it off to the side and take the hand tefillin. So you're passing over the mitzvah that you had in your hand. Why is it mandatory to put on the tefillin of the hand first? Because that's what the pasuk says. Ukshartam la'esa yadecha. Your first time for a sign on your hand. Then then for a sign between your eyes. So therefore you have no choice. Therefore la halacha, even if somebody took out by mistake the head tefillin first, you have to put it down and then take out the hand tefillin and put on the hand tefillin first. What? Okay, we'll come to that in a second.
We don't have space for that.
You'd be surprised if you put on a rental time. Now, the Gemara does say an interesting thing. The Gemara says, Yesh mokem b'rosh laniach shnei zugei tefillin. The Gemara says there's enough room on the head to put on two pairs of tefillin. Now, when you're putting on two pairs of tefillin on the head, you can't put one next to each other, because then it's not going to be beinei nechem. It has to be between your eyes. So what the Gemara means is one in front of the next, or one in back of the next. Because the place of tefillin is from the middle of the head until the hairline, wherever the hairline is. We're supposed to be, or it used to be. Where it used to be. So because then if you wear tefillin down here, it's also not kosher. It's too far. It can't be past the hairline, where the hairline used to be. So when the Gemara says there's place in the head for two pairs of tefillin, it means like those that put on Rabbi and Rabbi Tam at the same time. So they put on one behind the next, and the hand they also put next to each other. But that again, in the muscle, there's enough room for two pairs of tefillin. Then the custom is to do with the straps shin daled yud. So now here you have a lot of different customs, how you wrap the straps. Some people like Chabad makes the shin here, and then you have the 7 straps, and then you have the dalid on the hand, and then the yud on the finger. Okay, so you have the shin dalid yud. Other people make the shin on the hand, like Nusach Ashkenaz. They make the, so here they don't make the shin, they make the shin on the palm of the hand. And then the Sfardim do it a whole different way with the, over here, with the whole, various different ways of doing it. The reason why you have 7 corresponding with 7 days of the week, the 7 emotional attributes that we're binding ourselves to Hashem in all 7 aspects. Now, what's interesting is, by the way, let me, before we forget, in Halach it says that when you put on tefillin, okay, the Alter Rebbe says it's interesting because this shows it's actually a part of the mitzvah itself. When a person puts on tefillin, they have to have the kavanah. What kavanah do they need? That Hashem commanded them to write 4 parshas of tefillin, and He commanded us to put it on the hand and onto the heart, and the hand and the head, to show that we're meshabed alev hamerech, that we're binding our mind and heart to Hashem. This is part of the mitzvah of tefillin, is to think when you're putting on the tefillin, that you're thinking, what is the purpose of tefillin? To bind our mind and heart to Hashem. That's why we put it on the hand and on the heart. Now, and the head. Now, the din is like this. We learned already, hand tefillin is one mitzvah, head tefillin is a different mitzvah. So now the question is, do you make a separate bracha on the head tefillin? Do you make a separate bracha on the head tefillin? According to certain opinions, you're supposed to make 2 brachas on the head tefillin. On the head tefillin, on mitzvah tefillin. Okay, but bottom line is like this. So what do most people do? When you put on the tefillin, you have the bracha, you have in mind that I'm putting on the head tefillin also. Now, because the bracha of lahaniach tefillin is also going on the head tefillin, you want to minimize the separation between the bracha and putting on the head tefillin. It's understood. You make a bracha, you want it to be as soon as possible. Therefore, when you're putting on the tefillin, if you notice, people put on tefillin, right? You make the bracha, and then you wrap it on the hand, and the fingers you do until later. You make the tefillin on the fingers later. Why? Because the tefillin on the fingers is not a major part of the mitzvah. It's not the major part of the mitzvah. So to minimize the break between the bracha and the head, we don't do the fingers. We right away put on the head, and then we do the fingers because then you already put on the head. A lot of people, Nusach Ashkenaz, will make a separate bracha mitzvah tefillin on the head. But because there's an argument in halacha whether you should be making that bracha or not, so the custom in Nusach Ashkenaz is if you make a bracha al mitzvah tefillin on the head, you say Baruch Shem Kved Malchus Le'olam V'oed in case it's a bracha in vain. Now, what happens if somebody talked between the hand tefillin and the head tefillin, things not pertaining to the tefillin? So then you have to make a bracha mitzvah tefillin on the head tefillin.
Answering amen.
So it says in between the head and the hand tefillin, you're not supposed to answer amen. In Shulchan Aruch, the Alter Rebbe brings down, let's say you're coming to Kedusha, Kadosh Baruch Yimlech, or something like that, and you want to answer it, you could answer Kadosh Baruch and Yimlech, or Baruch Hu, or whatever, even though you're causing to say another bracha mitzvah tefillin. But regular to answer amen you shouldn't do. In Kitzur he says, if somebody's making a bracha on tefillin, so then you could answer amen because it's all part of the mitzvah of tefillin. What?
So let's say
One sec. What? You're not allowed to say Kaddish. What you really need to do is right away put on the head tefillin and either catch up or miss it. What?
Somebody came a little late and Sharia started Hashem Allah, and you're at the middle of the hand.
No.
Can you answer Hashem Allah?
Hashem Melech, Hashem Melech, you never answer. Never answer.
You're allowed to stand and do it like Chabad and put the tefillin standing up.
No, okay. Next. So afterwards, after you finish the head, you put on the head, so then you wrap around the fingers. Okay?
So why are we opening the end again before taking off the head?
For the same reason, you take it off opposite of the way you put it on. Just like you said, opposite of the way you put it on, so that's the way you take it off.
Rabbi, did I hear you
By the way, wait 1 second. When you take off the tefillin, the head tefillin, you take it off with your left hand. Why? The left hand is weaker. We don't want to show we're excited about taking off the tefillin. You know, with my stronger hand, we take it off with the weaker hand. I mean, just the halachas. What?
You said the mitzvah for tefillin is you write your own tefillin.
No.
Is it better you write your own tefillin?
No, because if you don't know how to write it, man, you'll have non-kosher tefillin. No, there's no mitzvah. The mitzvah is not to write the tefillin. The mitzvah is to wear the tefillin. See, ukshartam leisay yadecha. This time that you should time for a sign. Even mezuzah, that the Torah says, "Uchsavtam al mezuzah is beisach," you should write it on the mezuzah, doesn't mean that you should be writing the mezuzah. You need to have a kosher mezuzah.
On the Torah scroll.
There's a mitzvah to write one, to own one, but not necessarily to write it yourself. A guy doesn't know how to write, man. Strongly suggested not to write.
So it means have it written.
Have it written. What?
You know, the Sadiqim, they were doing it different. Like, when before, they were putting Teffilin. Why would they change it?
The Tzedukim, they changed a lot of things at Torah Shabbat Peh, even things that were going on earlier.
The Sadiqim came after.
Sadukim Baitus, right, second base for English. They changed it anyway. Okay. Machat Shina Zamayim Melech Umev B'Mayim Kim Shivla Gal Teira V'Chen Agashem Ed